Buongiorno YouTube, it's Trevor here, Summit or Nothing. I'm in the kitchen today, and today I'm going to be discussing which stove is suitable for you. So I'm sat here with all my variety of stoves, and they're all slightly different. They're all sort of different prices. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each one, which ones I like, which ones I go back to. If you are new to Summit or Nothing, then please subscribe. Have a look back through our videos. We've got hundreds of gear reviews, constantly going out wild camping and hiking all around the UK and other places sometimes. So yeah, lots of content there for you to check out. There's the links to all these products below in the video description, and links to similar products in the range for you to have a browse through, and also alternatives. But without further ado, let's have a look at the stoves. The first stove that I ever bought was the Jetboil Zip. Now, Jetboil is a well-known brand. A lot of people go for the Jetboils because they're a product that's manufactured considerably well. They pack entirely into themselves, as you can see here. There's even on the side instructions of how they pack away into the container. There's various different versions of the Jetboil. This is the Jetboil Zip. I know Nath spent 80-90 quid on these, and I managed to get this for 65. But you don't get them for 65 these days. Occasionally you see them sort of 70-80 quid. And the Zip is one of the cheaper models as well. Some Jetboils are really expensive, sort of 120 plus. Sometimes 150, and for basically it is just a kettle. You won't be doing any cooking on the Jetboil Zip, but if you have boil in the bag meals or dehydrated meals, Jetboil is fine. It does boil rapidly, and although I've had a lot of issues with it in the past, such as when you've got water in there and a boil in the bag and you're boiling, the adjustment you've got to either turn it off or for it to boil over is minuscule. You're right on the verge of turning it off to get it to the right setting, so it's not got a very good regulator on there. But that being said, I have gone back to the Jetboil recently. I've used it more often because it is compact, it is fine, and other models that I've taken out, which I will get to in a bit, the slightest bit of wind and they become a bit more inefficient, and they do blow out and they're harder to keep going. I've been out before and where the wind, even in my tent behind a windshield, has completely cut out and I couldn't make a coffee. Nothing worse than waking up in the morning when you're cold and you can't make a coffee. So the Jetboil Zip, it goes together quite easily. You can see I keep the can is inside. It comes with a stand. Slot the can on like that. This simply winds on like that. And then remove the bottom of the stove and you clip it on like that, and there you go. The regulators around here, on and off. But like I say, this is designed to sort of be a lot better in the wind. The wind doesn't affect it quite so much because it's protected around here, and the baffles stop the wind sort of affecting the flame too much. It's really tight. Once it's secured in here, it's not going anywhere. There's no rattle. I'll talk about the cheaper brand of this stove later on. But there are numerous sort of alternatives to the Jetboil out there, one of which I've got and we will discuss later if you haven't already seen me use it in the past. But that's the first product, the Jetboil Zip. The next stove that I bought was this one, the Trangia Mini. Now the Trangia Mini, it comes with its own cooking pots. The lid is a frying pan. Comes with its own tweezers, and inside here we have the stove itself and a sort of a regulator here. Now the Trangia is a great stove. I was introduced to this by a chap called Tom from Off the Beaten Pot. I'll put a link to his channel below, and he loves using the Trangia, and I've seen him, you know, the first time I saw his videos he was cooking a roast dinner on a Trangia. so I was like really intrigued. We've cooked loads of different things on there. I've got various videos of us cooking on the Trangia, so I'll put links to those up as well. Bonuses about the Trangia that some people like is that it's, you know, it's an open flame, so you need to keep it up off of rocks and things, but it's silent. A lot of people don't like the sound of like the gas burning, like a gas torch sound when they're out on the hills, and they quite like the you know, just to set something going, boil your water up quietly. It's a bit more relaxing and peaceful. There is a lot of scope for what you can do, and I mean, you know, you won't be boiling you in a bag with this so much, but there's more range. You know, you can cook things, cook a breakfast. I think I've cooked an omelette in there. We've had curries out of there. So a really great alternative. The only thing is, I mean, it packs into itself, as I said, but you will have to carry separate fuel. It's a liquid fuel, and Trangia do their own dispenser, which you click on and off to tip, which is really good. So yeah, that's number 2, the Trangia. Next in line is my OEX stove here. Now this was cheap as chips. I think the pots themselves were like 20 quid and the stove was £10. As you can see, it's falling apart when you get it out. This is one of the things that could be better with it. I'll discuss in a second. It comes into its own little sack that you can keep. In this one, I've got a larger tank than I had with the Jetboil. This is the stove, the OEX Etna stove, and then obviously the pot set. The pot set has got the baffles on it as well, which helps to sort of spread the heat around for boiling. But as you can see with the Jetboil, as I said, once you put it all together, it's all sort of compact and it stays together. With this one, not so much. The stove opens up like this, so you've got your feet to stand it on. Oh, it's on. It's leaking. So, I mean, this pot, I haven't got a stand for it. When I've used the little gas canisters, I did purchase an OEX stand, which cost about 5 quid. So altogether, the lot cost me about £35, but you can see it's quite tall, and if you're on any slightly unstable ground, it makes it a bit precarious, especially once you've got the lid on. I did have to purchase for this a little steel windshield, which you spread around the product. It's got 2 sort of bits on either end that stab down into the ground. I think I picked them up for under a tenner. I'll put links again once below. But these are great alternatives to the Jetboil if you want to just get started out and you want to have something that boils rapidly. I mean, you could probably cook in these if you wanted. You could cook a stew or something in that easily. Perhaps you could do a fry up in the lid. But like I say, the lid goes together. It clicks in there, but when you're trying to do it up, it wobbles about a fair bit. It doesn't stay where it should be. I found that quite frustrating. When I put the gas canisters in, I always put a bit of tissue in there as well, so that when you put the gas canister in, it doesn't rust and ruin the side, around the side. Obviously this is a lot bulkier. You could always buy slimmer COOKSETS if you wanted, and put a smaller gas canister inside. But you know, for a starter, if you're just wanting to start out and you want to carry something, that stove is brilliant. That will go on a normal gas canister. And the regulator, it's a good regulator on there, to be honest. There's quite a lot of range from full power down to like just barely boiling. And a pot that size is even better for boiling in the bag than the Jetboil. You can put quite a lot of water in there, submerge it all. Fantastic. So there are pros and cons with all of these products. That's what we're discussing. You know, nothing's perfect. See that there, it just won't stay on. That is a gripe to me, and then when you come to pack it away, that moving around gets frustrating. So after that, I tried the Jobsworth, which is an alternative to the Jetboil. I think it cost about £30. Now this one has done me proud. It's been alright, I've enjoyed it. It's much the same design as the Jetboil. It's not put together properly. It does pack up properly if you pick it up properly. Does that go that way? Alright, I think my wife took this one out last and they haven't packed it away properly. That's what's gone on here. When she went out with Sarah. Oh, they've wedged. What have they done? Right, it came with a stand. Once again, we'll build it up like this Jetboil. So we get the gas canister out. The gas canister will clip onto the stand easily. Right, yeah, that's slotted in, that's slotted in. There, it's clicked in. Then the stove goes on top of that. Now this is what I was saying about earlier, about Jetboil, when you click it together, it sticks together real good. This one here, not so much. You can see that's together, it's very rattly and it's very loose. So there's not as much precision engineering with that, but it is a great, cheaper alternative. Like I said, there's many of these cheap alternatives on. This is the only one I've tried. It is worth noting that the next batch after I purchased this, they recalled because there was a fault with them. I don't quite know what the fault was. Some people said it wasn't much of an issue. I'm not sure if they've put any more out on the market, but you can see it's a bit rattly. I mean, that's locked in. It doesn't take a lot to wobble it out. Instead of the material strap of the Jetboil, this one here has got the rubber handles, much like the OEX stove had. The OEX handles pop out like that, so you can use it as a frying pan. It's possibly a little bit larger container than the Jetboil, slightly taller, slightly wider, but the regulator on this was a lot better, I found, than the Jetboil Zip. You could easily adjust it to where you wanted without fear of it going out. But what I also liked about this version is that you've got the regulator, but you've also got the switch on there, the ignition, see? So you can ignite the gas yourself with just the click of a button, but it's always worth bringing a lighter with you anyway, just in case that doesn't work. But other Jetboil models have the igniter as well. This Jetboil Zip doesn't. I don't know if they put it on the later models, but that doesn't have its own igniter. And also this camouflage bit does come off, so you can easily remove it just to put this through the dishwasher, or wash it however you want. And it also comes with this that sort of clips in somehow, can't remember quite how. Oh yeah, it opens up like this, see? And then you can put that on there, and then it adapts that so you can use it for cooking with a frying pan or a pot or anything else. So you don't have to just use it for that. You've got the options to use it as another cooking device. Jetboil do something similar, but with the Jetboil Zip, it doesn't come with it. You'll probably have to buy your own bits to go with it. A different type of stove here is my One Tigress Evil Eye wood stove. It comes really compact, so it slips away nice and tidily. It is quite heavy because it is all engineered metal. But you'll see, you take it out of the wallet. This is my second wood stove. I have another wood stove. I can't remember at the moment what the name is. I couldn't find it when I was looking to get all the bits together. That one goes together a lot quicker. It sort of folds out and it's pretty much there. This one here you have to slot together, but me and Nathan have taken these out last year and done some cooking. This one here will fill out to a lot larger space. You can fit more wood in there. It lasts a bit longer, you haven't got to keep topping it up and keep an eye on it as you have the other stove. I'll put this together now quickly, see how easy it is, see if I can remember quite how to do it. Almost. Oh, I've left the griller. You can see. Right, I'm filthy. It's a lot more fiddly to put together and it could do with a clean, but they are great fun. Obviously you wouldn't use these in certain places because it does produce an open flame, so you wouldn't use it on Dartmoor. I would never take one of these to Dartmoor, but I have used them in the woods, and we've even took the kids out with them and cooked like marshmallows and things. The kids have enjoyed that. It gives you a sort of a sense of building a campfire, but in a sort of a safer environment. Some people were worried that it would start warping, but you can see this one hasn't warped at all. It's gone back, it is still rigid, it is still set. And these are quite reasonably priced. I think they're under 30 quid, whereas the other one that I was talking about folds out. A lot more expensive for the smaller model, even more expensive if you want the larger models. You can cook on these, obviously, you can have a frying pan. There's no regulation is the trouble. Once you've got a fire going, the heat that the fire produces is sort of a constant, so you can't, like all the other things, you can't regulate. But good fun, I've enjoyed using it and I would use it again. As I said, links to all these products, and I'll also put links to the videos of these products in use. Now, this little product was recommended to me by one of my patrons. It's a Lixada titanium 750mm mug, and if you open up inside, so it's titanium, really, really light. Again, I've got the can inside it, wrapped in a tissue so it doesn't rust out the bottoms, because these will rust and stain and make a mess. And then the little tiny little bag here is the Lixada stove. So similar to the OEX stove, but a lot more compact. Nathan uses a BRS stove, which is again even lighter than this one, but this is absolutely brilliant little stove. I enjoyed using this set last year quite a lot in the summer. It's a nice, really compact sort of set to use. It's reasonably priced for the quality of it. Good regulation again. You possibly wouldn't be boiling the bags in there, but you can easily make a coffee, or if you've got the dehydrated mills, you can fill the water up to the level. It's got the levels on the outside, and then tip the water into that. But it's so lightweight, it's fantastic. I really did enjoy it. But this is the stove that I was taking out, and I got caught out when it was windy, and I had the windshield around it, but still the wind was just blowing it out. So it's a fair weather piece of kit, but it is a fantastic little bit of kit. If you're a fair weather hiker, you wouldn't want anything else other than that, I don't think. It's a great little stove. Really enjoy using that. Put that over there. The final bit of kit that I've got to look at is a new one. It's the Nature Hike stove that I used in our previous video of our Christmas camp, and the Nature Hike pot set. So it's similar in size to the OEX, but in here there is 4 different pots. What I like about this is that these pots, when they click in, they click in. They're not moving. You can lift it up. It does eventually, but when you put in the bag on, it doesn't slide around like the OEX. Again, it's got the rubber handles. It comes with an assortment of equipment to use. I've got the box out here. You've got a ladle. You've got a couple of bowls that it comes with, 3 bowls, and a nice little wooden sort of spatula in there as well. As I say, there's the 4 pots in there. You've got 2 big sized pots for cooking, perhaps a stew or what have you, and then you've got the two lids you can use as frying pans. So I mean, if you had a couple of stoves on the go, this would be the only pot set you would need. You could do a bit of everything. These are aluminium alloy, much like the OEX set. They don't come with the baffles underneath like the OEX set does, but I boiled a whole bottle of mulled wine in there in practically no time at all. So the next is we're going to look now at the Nature Height burner. As you can see in this picture here, it's quite a stable little design. More stable than I thought. The other week when I took it out, I completely made an idiot of myself, as many people pointed out in the video. I extended like this, I extended out the legs to stick the pot on, but what I didn't do was extend the legs to make it more stable, like that. I completely missed that for some reason, but look how stable that has become with that. I was literally just balancing it on that orange bit, which isn't the most stable way of doing it. So yeah, well done everyone for pointing out to me what an idiot I am. This has got a hose, which makes this really rigid. You're not up on a canister and it's not going to flop around as much. You're not building a tower as such. So what you can do is you connect your canister to the side like this. It makes this really stable, as I said. This one here's got an ignition on there as well. So just click the button and it's away. And another beauty of this is if you're colder conditions, and you can turn this one upside down over here so that it makes it easier to run. That's a tip that Rooksfoot had mentioned in the comments. Obviously knows a lot more about the stove than I do. But I saw Outdoors George using one of these sets, and also Joss when I went with him. He carries one of these, and yeah, it's a really good set. The regulator is over here on top of the gas, so you can turn it up and down. You can simmer, you can boil, you can cook. So it gives you loads of scope. And also this comes in its nice, the stove comes in its nice little protective pot, so you can keep it in there with the hose, and it's, you know, it's not going to get damaged in that. So it's a really good cook set. Again, it's all really relatively cheap. I think it's about 20 quid, about 25 quid for the stove, and similar sort of price for the COOKSETS. So now I've got a messy table, but I have discussed all my different stoves. So you might have a look at these and might have some idea of what kind of thing you will want to take, but you might want to cook. You might have all the time in the world to sort of cook yourself some meals. You don't mind carrying the extra weight, much like Tom does, much like Outdoors George did on our Patreon camp, and I should really do the same. But I have been lazy, taking the Jetboil and a boil in the bag meal. So there you go. Trev's talked about stoves. What do you reckon about that? Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Cheers!